social network story starts and begins with librarians.
Yeah.
My best friend in the whole wide world is now, I guess, qualified to be a librarian. She went to graduate school. That is enough out of you. Went to graduate school. I'm up here. For library science. I didn't know that science library, that was a thing, but she did, and she went. She did a great job. And one of the best things about going to school for library science is there's lots of conferences. And one of the things about conferences that's great is that there's conventions, and you go there with all these other librarians, and very often that happens in Philadelphia, because we are like the convention city. And so she would very frequently call me and be like, hey, in your city, Chuck and Dewey decimals. And I'd be like, awesome! And she would take the stipend that her school gave her, and then she would stay at my house, and then we would spend all that money on going to places like here and eating things. So it was great. See, it's better. Slappy drinks are better for crepes. So she comes to this one convention, and I had a lot of time off, so I stop in and see her, and I get lunch or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this keynote. It's this guy I don't really know. His name's Raj Patel. I don't know if you know. But Raj Patel, look him up on your smartphone. R-A-J-P-A-T-E-L. Is a devastatingly handsome Indian economist who is both interesting and smart, and also has this really great subtext that people think he's a god. Like, this is an actual thing. Like, people think he's like the third coming of this one Hindu god, and he doesn't really get it. Like, it's because he's Indian, but he also has a stutter, but he also talks about economic theories about rich divides and poor countries, and but I mean, look it up, seriously, people think he's a god. Like, there's this whole cult devoted to him, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm just an economist. And I've been obsessed with this guy for years, ever since I read this New Yorker article a couple years ago. I get obsessed with things when you read a New Yorker article. Oh, that is interesting, I'm gonna be into that. You're into it kind of aggressively, and then less so, and then sometimes your friend says, hey, I'm at this librarian conference, Raj Patel is speaking at it, and you're like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with that guy. If you haven't talked about him for 3 years. So I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed with that guy. And she's like, oh well, you can't get in, you're not a librarian. I was like, alright, fine, whatever. So I get pouty, but then go to get one of those Amish pretzel hot dog things, and it's fine because we're in the convention center. So later on the night, she's like, "Hey, I'm going to this librarian party. It's probably going to be really lame. It's at National Mechanics." I was like, "Well, that last part's a selling point." And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Can you please just come? I'm really not not super popular at school, and all these girls are librarians and." You're really good. Can you? It's like, yeah, totally. Welcome to this librarian party. That sounds awesome. In my head, I'm like, librarians getting drunk. This is going to be great. I hold my liquor so well. I can't wait to see the glasses fall off. So I get there, and we're sitting, and we're with our librarian friends, and they're awful. I mean, nothing against librarians, but just these two particular ones are just not so good. And so we're sitting there, and we're in the booth at National Mechanics. There's 2 here and 2 here, right? So we're sitting next to each other. They're doing something, it's 9, it's super early, the party hasn't even started, and the girl that her friend is with gets kicked out because she's 20. What is a 20-year-old doing here? So they get kicked out, but I'm kind of thankful for it, because I was you guys are kind of lame anyway. And then we're just there. And so we're talking, and 2 single gals, thank you, 2 single gals at a bar, it's as we know, it can be a dangerous situation. So this guy comes over and he sits down, British guy, kind of bald, whatever. And he's like, can we sit with you guys? And I put the toot on. I'm like, sure. Now we're already 3 Dewey decimators in. That is the drink that we're drinking. It's Jameson, ginger ale, and apple pucker. so he sits down and it's and I'm just still begging my friend to leave. And then, right. This really handsome economist sits down, and it's Raj Patel!
Yeah.
It's him! He's right there, and he's with his weird bald British handler. And he sits this person, how do you know about wheat prices in India? Like, what are you doing? And so the night wears on, and now there's dancing, and I spent some time in India, so I know enough about Indian dances that I can't do it. And so all of a sudden Raj Patel's like, we should dance, and I'm like, of course, Raj Patel, I will absolutely dance with you. So Raj Patel like goes over to the dance floor, and literally it's like the suavest thing. It's like. Like just a shoulder tap. And it's like the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. So we go and we leave and we're outside and it's like, it's dark and it's cold and we're wearing jackets. And I was like, this was great. Like I would love to continue this conversation, Raj Patel. And he said, no, absolutely. I'm on Facebook.